live in the studio with me. And I have another guest that will be joining us via phone. Oladotun Wasan, the legal practitioner and president, Yoruba Council Worldwide. So the two of them will be helping me out here to dissect our Democracy Day discussion. Once again, I am Solomon Offem. Welcome to the show. Now, in those 26 years, the country have saw the emergence of 5 presidents and several elections, which ushers in a new set of leaders both at the national and state level. Originally celebrated on May 29, the day Nigeria transitioned to democracy with the swearing in of former President Olusegun Obasanjo. On the same date in 1999, Democracy Day was moved to June 12 in 2018 by the government of former President Muhammadu Buhari in honor of June 12, 1999 election described as the country's freest pool. Okay, you know how we do it. I'll give my own analysis, a very short one, and then I'll invite my guests in. We'll analyze together, and at the right time I'll open the phone line for you to make your contributions, for you to have your say. So if you're on your radio set or your phone, because most phones now have FM, you can just tune in, just tune that dial to 90.3 FM and you will hear us live. Or better still, you can go to your YouTube and search VOP903. You can also subscribe or streaming there live on YouTube at VOP903 FM. And when it's time, the phone lines will be open, and then you will call. But for now, you can send your message via WhatsApp. Of course, as we are talking, as I'm talking to my guests, I will be reading some messages. And of course, because of so many things we have to talk about today, there may not be time for me to pick the usual number of calls I would normally pick. So the safest bet is to send me your messages via WhatsApp. I'll be reading some of those messages. I'm sure some people will have some questions, and of course, my guests will be here to answer those questions. So 08171756338. That's our WhatsApp line. 08171756338. What do you think of our democracy? What are the things we've gotten wrong? What are the things we can get right? 26 years ago, the Federal Republic of Nigeria transitioned from military rule to a democratic system during a colorful event in Abuja attended by leaders worldwide on May 29, 1999. The military transferred power to Olusegun Obasanjo, democratically elected president. Obasanjo was a former military head of state who voluntarily handed power over to the civilian Second Nigerian Republic in 1979, when the country plunged back into turmoil following a coup that ended the short-lived Second Republic. He rose to prominence as an international political figure, resisting military rule and championing democracy. In his inaugural speech, Obasanjo promised to improve the quality of life for Nigerians, strengthening public institutions, combat corruption, and advance good governance, among others. That has not really been the case. Some people will say that. Nigeria has successfully held elections from one administration to another, often altering political parties in power since then. However, whether life has improved for ordinary Nigerians remain a contentious and merits exploration. So, which is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. So, as I said before, I have two guests with me, one live in the studio, and the other one will be talking to us via phone. I have a Dr. Dayo Kayode. He's a current affairs analyst, an academic doctor, and an aviation safety expert. Thank you so much for joining us today, sir.
Just like you did, Soul.
Souls.
Song will call me Darling D.
Oh, darling.
Some will call me DDK.
Okay.
Some will call me Sake. But officially, I'm Daoka, the PAD, a socio-political technocrat and aviation safety expert. Also, the national chairman of the Unifiers movement. The only movement that is organically mobilizing the people towards emancipating themselves.
Are you sure that's
from
the only movement?
From the class, haste, and the Machiavellian leaders that we have today.
Okay, thank you very much for coming on the show. I also have Olado Tumasan. He's a legal practitioner and president Yoruba Council Worldwide. Thank you for joining us on the show today, sir.
Well, it's a pleasure to be on your program. I'm really glad to be live there. And happy Democracy Day to all Nigerians. Dr. Kayode,
It's my pleasure being on the same platform with you today. Long time.
Yes, sir.
Well, this is going to be a very interesting conversation. Okay, both of you, thank you very much, sirs, for being on the show. Now, let's start with assessing Nigeria's democracy since 1999. Let me start from you, Dr. Kayode. Let me have your overview, your assessment.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it that we have been able to have uninterrupted democratic rule since 1999. And to a very large extent, it has been skewed in terms of ups and downs. Along the line, especially when it comes to development of democratic institutions, we've had some developing. Then along the line, some other people will come in, change it, and then make it somehow draconian to the extent that even people will be thinking that the democracy is nascent. The democracy is about to be washed away. You can remember 2014 leading to 2015. Even the whole world were saying, listen, Nigeria is about to disintegrate. You remember? I mean, that is the level we find ourselves there. But when we look at Baba Obasanjo's era, yes, Baba Obasanjo might have his own idiosyncrasies, just like any other person. But to a very large extent, he has been able to strengthen. Look at even the issue of INEC. Even though, yes, there are some discrepancies in our electoral process there, but then you still cannot push that one away and then put the one we have now there. But when it got to the era of Yaradua, the only person that had ever agreed, he said it live, that the election that brought him was flawed. And to that extent, he was trying as much as possible to see how he can make our democracy more strengthened, being compared even to the one you have outside of Nigeria. But it's so unfortunate, it didn't live long to achieve that before we had Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. But then when you also look at that Jonathan era, it was a listening president. Because I could remember it was the opposition that made him to bring on board Professor Atahiru Jega as the chairman of INEC at that time. not knowing that Atairu Jega, am I right? Yeah, Atairu Jega, at the end of the day, will be the one that, but then
It will be the one that they do what?
let's leave that. Let's leave that to. Do you understand?
Okay.
At the end of the day, what did we see? When Muhammadu Buhari came in, when he came in, we started seeing some other things, especially in the area of economy. Look at what our exchange rate was when Jonathan was there, and look at what Buhari left behind. I remember in 2015, I exchanged a dollar for about I think 198 naira at the airport. I remember I was traveling sometimes in 2015 then, after the elections, at 198 naira to a dollar. That is to say, government before now understands how to protect the naira. Because one of the reasons why economy thrives, why your people are being shaded off all these excruciating economic pains is by protecting your naira. What has been happening between America and China, between America and Canada, between America and Europe, and even UK? It's all about currency protection. But what do we see now? Now, coming to what we are facing now, you can even see at the National Assembly, whereby you see them when the president is ascending them, instead of singing national anthem, always singing "By your mandate we shall stand." Should it supposed to be? Should it supposed to be? You now see every other person trying to move to one party. Is our nation now turning to a one-party state? We have a lot of applications with INEC to be registered at political parties. What has INEC done? These are most of the things that we can put together for me to say the way our democracy is going is not palatable. The way people are suffering cannot be taken. And mark you, sometimes, most of the time, when you pursue a goat to the wall, the effect of it, nobody can predict.
Okay, let's hear you, Mr. San. Your overview, your assessment of our Nigerian democracy so far.
Well, we have to give it to our tenacious spirit as Africans who have survived colonialism towards advent for an independent nation and a nation that met a Waterloo of military incursion, whereby we spent over 40 of our existence as a democratic nation, more under the military clause. Inclusion of the current constitution being an appendage of the military system, which has militarized our democracy till date, which, by implication, every of our detrimental positioning from the ethnic to economic rests on the constitution that we are running as a country. And to have a survivor for this, we have to rest our mandate that are we truly democratic nation? Are we celebrating democracy today? Because when you talk about democracy, democracy is the government of the people, for the people, and by the people. But are the people themselves recognize them that we are running as a country? That is an issue. I might best describe today as Abiola National Day, best describe as that because the reason is that we are yet to really have a truly democratic sovereign nation. Either how anybody may take it, until we can go truly as a lawyer, every Nigerian lawyer knows that we are running an opaque constitution. And just like we all know, we cannot continue to deceive ourselves. Having left the military over 26 years ago, we decided not to leave the apron bag of that Decree 24 constitution that we are running as a country. And no matter how vibrant that anybody wants to speak good English, if we cannot solve our constitutional problem, I'm sure even if we bring the angel, the best angel in heaven, to come and man the seat of power in Nigeria, Nigeria will continue to run a comatose governance because there is no equity, there is no enabling structure to guarantee the people's opinion. It is just a means of every governance is run by personal individual. There is no institutional democracy. And if there is no institutional democracy, we'll continue to be where we are. In X-raying where we were coming from and to where we are now, almost every person in the ends of affairs today are agitators of people that argued that fought the military back to the barracks. But to what extent have the people's interests been guaranteed? There have been experimentation of developmental democracy. But if truly we really want democracy, without the ethnic bias that have ruined us, because if we don't consider our citizenship identity, which has now been nailed to a Golgotha, we are just deceiving ourselves. Nigerians need to really come out to understand that how many of us are voting on election day, the voters' apathy. We are talking about a nation of over 200 million. 8 million elected a president. Do you want to guarantee that that's a democratic nation? Not because there is no capacity, but the true definition of democracy is that over 195 million who refuse to vote or neither participate or neither see the system as a running system until when the people come forward, when the people begin to choose rightly. Not that we have not had good leaders. I will not be able to say that, holistically, we have not found any good in every government that have come and gone. But the nemesis and the irony is that we have seen more bad governance than good. People who come under the premise of democracy, and once they get into power, they begin to shop for third term. People will come under democracy, and when they get there, they bring their wife to control the governance structure, and you begin to see the wife and the mother are in the government house. That's the system we are faced with. Nigerians are yet to really feel how best can we daily live. Definitely, it's not yet Uhuru, but I want to implore, I will not always want to be pessimistic, that the way President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is running, yes, he's trying to fix things, but he cannot fix it halfway in terms of let's get the local government autonomy. Let him deconstruct the constitution. He knows the problem. Let us deconstruct. There's nothing to fear. No military, no northerner, no southerner. Let's deconstruct and have a new people's constitution. Let's have a regional constitution that everybody will know how to manage their resources. Let the federal government have more of diffuse concurrent listing than more of exclusive listing. A lot of things are wrong. We cannot talk about democratic nation and you have a Sharia law in your national constitution. That's not democracy. We cannot talk about democracy and you still have a land use act that you cannot have a direct access to your communal and ancestral land with right of gaining whatever that is economic right of that land as part of your gains. That is not democracy. Without the removal of Land Use Act, you cannot talk that we already have a concrete democracy. Yet, we are moving towards stable process. But it can only be achieved, let me tell you, it can only be achieved on patriotism. Considering how elections are being run in this country, we are not always going into election, we go into war. Maybe people have not seen it that way. The kind of campaign, opposition, the mannerism of people reasoning. Like today now, we ought to be celebrating. Today, people have declared protestation. I'm not a fan of protest at every time. If there are no reason for you to protest, must we paint ourselves bad? Can't we come and engage the government? Can't we engage more through constructive means to challenge the government of the day? There is always a means to let ourselves go. To me, I will not say for whatever reason anybody may say, but for us to have it rightly, citizens must come first, Nigeria must come first. There must be census of all of us in this country. We must know where our rights start. Electoral reform, whereby we can have diaspora voting anywhere. We can have a staggered election, not just and one day election for both local government, state and federal. All should be done simultaneously. We should end this state election. It's just a symptoms of military, whereby you call something a state electoral system, and everything is in the pocket of the governor of that state. If you call it, now that we call it for national election, my brother there was just talking about Jega, that Jega is the albatross of Jonathan. No, it's a system. The system gave room for such that an electoral umpire can kill or mar an electoral process. It's not about the person. We have had Maurice Iwu, who almost drained us. So we need to come to the fairness that all of us must tell ourselves the truth, not always pointing accusing fingers. If you are just too good to condemn, they will tell you that other person you are equally bringing on board from that other party. The beautiful ones are not yet born. They equally have the same character, but they are just having different faces. But until when we have better orientation of leadership for service in Africa, that is our major albatross. We are not yet matured to lead the people democratically. For us to lead democratically, you need a lot of orientation from educating the people on the interest and definition of democracy to how much can you rate the gains of democracy. Let's not always see democracy as a weaponized means of fighting one another. But let us see it as a base for strategic development of the state. And constitutionalism is very key to our own development as far as Nigeria is concerned.
Okay, now let's...
And even if I might quickly add, much as I agree with most of the things that Barrister Hassan had said, you see, when it comes to constitution, there is no way you will have a good constitution when you don't have good managers. That constitution will always be faulty. Okay? Yes, it's being claimed that the military made this constitution for Nigerians. But who are the people that were in the Constituent Assembly then? Were they not civilians? They are. Who are the people running this constitution now? Are they not civilians? They are. But the question is this. In that same constitution, was it not expressly defined there that there should be separation of power? Was it not also expressly defined there what qualifies someone to vie for position of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? How about the role of the judiciary? I wrote a paper on the last election. Activities of the judiciary, which were also validated by some retiring justices like Justice Mohammed Dati and co. who said, when he was giving his valedictory statement, speech, that listen, the judiciary he was leaving now wasn't the judiciary he met as a young boy to join the judiciary. Go and read that my article. It's there. The judicial validation of electoral violations.
Now,
these are, I mean, there are guidelines. There's a constitution that we are supposed to follow. But what happened is about the people.
I usually have a problem when I see retired justices come out, give valedictory speeches and say all the right thing. And then the question, and then the question comes to my mind: when they were justices, what did they do? Because we tend to see justice in Nigeria has had its own controversies, and a lot of the judges are usually involved in those controversies, giving contradictory judgments and all, and says all of, and then as soon as they retire, they start telling us, okay, this is how we should have been, this is how we should have been.
Let me tell you this. Now, what some of these public officers are facing. Look at the one that retired. Look at the one that retired in Rivers State because of this issue of Fubara. Look at that one that retired. Look at the way their houses were being ransacked the other time. Do you get? There are a lot of things that are also happening to them underneath that they cannot say, especially while there.
Well, we know. Now, let's not jump the gun. Let's take a look at it. Couldn't have been all bad. Let's look at some of the gains we've had at democracy. Let's look at some of the things we've gotten right since 1999.
You see, as for me, even though I prefer democratic form of government, as much as I'm a Democrat, all the gains that we might be talking today have been eroded because an hungry man is always an angry man. And when an hungry stomach has no air, Papa. Do you understand? An hungry stomach has no air. At the moment somebody is hungry, the moment somebody is anger, there is nothing good you will see until when you are being fed. Go out there and see the way people are feeling. See how much people are buying fuel these days. See how much people are paying for light. See so many children that cannot go to school. See so many children that cannot feed. See so many children that are even hawking pure water inside rain. Tell me, who will buy pure water inside rain?
So in other words, there've been no gain.
I said all the gains have been eroded by the excruciating pains people are facing.
The fact that it is a democratically run country, is that not enough gain?
See. This your station now. If you say something that the government doesn't like, in fact, you won't leave here before they close it up. Is that freedom? Is that freedom of expression? Do we have freedom of expression? Do we have separation of power? I mean, do we have constitutional functionality? How effective is our constitution? Because when you want to look at successes of democracy, you have to look at it from the point of view of our constitution. You have to look at it from the point of view. Is it a government for the people, by the people? You have to look at it from the point of view. To what extent are people getting dividends of democracy?
Now, what about you, Mr. San? Do you agree with him? We don't have not a single gain since we came into...
Yes, we have gained in some ways. We have gained. I might not be able to say that we haven't gained at all. To be pessimistic and unpatriotic for me to say Nigeria has just been a stark log of wood. And if we must look at where things are, we might not have been making it a perfect country. Even America is not getting it right fully. A lot of things that Trump is doing sometimes look so militarily undemocratic. But that doesn't make sense to say that America is not a nation. but they're having it to deal with their case. So we have to deal with that. We cannot say for a government that have, for me, I'm an advocate of restructured governance, and bringing governance to the local government is a plus to this government that we must give them that, yes, they've added 1 or 2 feathers to our hope.
Is government already in the local government? Is government already in the local government?
Yeah, well, listen. The kind of people you elect at the local state level, it's as if all your blames are just going to the federal. For a government that has equally come up with the Regional Development Commission, it might not have started now, but there are hope. We might not have been seeing the way things got up. Things have been decayed. Under Obasanjo, we had a decayed system, whereby Jonathan ruined the economy during his own era too. You might look at that symptoms by looking at the former Minister of Petroleum and look at their dossiers of how much they ruined us economically.
When this one too leaves, we see the dossier of others. When this one leaves, we see the dossier.
Under the Buhari government.
Are we not seeing the dossier too?
Wait, let me tell you something. If you begin to look at the face of the person now, without looking the marks of every other person that have been there, we have to equate everything all together.
We are doing a kind of a comparative analysis, yes, Abi. When I started, we talked about comparative analysis. Then when we're talking, when we're talking about comparative analysis, you're going to look at even the fragility index.
Let him talk. Let me
please. Calm down.
Go on, sir.
He's just asking me what are the gains. It is a system. That is why the government on their own part are trying to increase the minimum wage. I'm not the spokesperson for the government, but I see more to be done. Like for me, I would have said, okay, let states determine their minimum, their incremental minimum wage according to their economic potential. States can pay 250,000, while some can pay 150. All fingers are not equal, and we can see that not everybody is paying 70. Lagos is paying more than that, but they can still do better if we challenge them. So for now that there have been more increase in state allocation, we must look at it from those perspectives.
Where is that increasing? Where is that increase coming from?
Go back to the government.
Where is that increase coming from?
Wait, it's coming from the federal.
How is the federal getting it? By taking money from the people, by removing all sorts of subsidy, by removing all sorts of subsidy, and then they're now getting more money. They're now giving it to the governors.
The subsidy, just like Atiku, Peter Obi, all of them resolved that. Even if I'm the president, I wouldn't have even allowed subsidy to be there.
But then have we not paying subsidy again? We remove subsidy, but we are not paying subsidy.
Wait, listen.
I mean,
the economic repercussion of the removal is what we have to address as a people, which I have always been on the path that, okay, even if you are removing this thing in a measure, this whole crime of subsidy, are people not going to pay dearly for it? That should be our question. So those people that ruined us yesterday, can't we still call them?
So that ruination should continue. That ruination should continue. It shouldn't be ameliorated.
Doctor,
we are discussing.
I believe by the conversation we are having, it's not a war or a rest.
No. I'm just trying to help you by tipping some other questions so that it can help your analysis.
No. It is when you say Nigeria have not gained at all.
I'm not saying they have not. I said the gains we had, the excruciating pains that we are having now has eroded it.
Well,
that's my own.
Now he's giving the gains he think we've had. So let's hear it.
I'm only laying a foundation now.
Okay.
On how can we now have it rightly? I've just laid a fundamental structural foundation.
Okay.
That we cannot run an haphazard democracy. And all of us are finding that we're having a democratic state.
So in your opinion,
we have a constitution that addresses our fundamental ailments.
Okay.
Yes, you are talking about the people. Is it not the same people we elect at our local government level, at our state assembly? We cannot just, democracy is a compendium book. The way it's being run by every administration matters. Where Tinubu needs to address is the issue of economic excruciating inflation that is happening. And how is he going to address it is by ensuring food supply.
So, in other words, Mr. Zan, you're saying the problem we have is not about Obasanjo or Goodluck Jonathan or Tinubu or Muhammad Buhari. The problem is the system, the structure.
It's a cumulative of the personality and the system.
Okay.
We've had wrong personality at the end of our affairs. We have had it rough. That's why it's really very unrealistic for us to even determine the kind of human beings we have in this country. We are the good people that really love and patriotic to the side of the people. What about the senators?
Now,
okay. So to me, in one way, if you are speaking and you are wanting to paint a situation, you just receive attack because you have never come down.
Mentioned something just now. How about the senators? I was at the Senate 3 weeks ago. I was surprised. You know, at the entrance of that Senate, I just saw some power bikes, like 4. They came in. The next thing, some exotic cars. The most embarrassing thing, an official of Nigeria that lives in Abuja, works in Abuja, has in his entourage an ambulance. Excuse me, an ambulance. Where in that ambulance there will be a doctor, there will be nurse, there will be this, there will be that, and so many other gadgets there. What do you need that for?
Now, I don't want us to see this as I don't want us to see this. I don't want us to see this as that's in my view. I don't want us to see this as APC supports government. Let me land. I don't want us to see this as APC supports the government or PDP supports the government or APC was better. I also don't want to see it as it's Buhari's fault or Tinubu's fault or Jonathan's fault. Because the truth is, lots of Nigerians, a much more larger percentage of Nigerians will think we've not actually had it good since we switched from military to democratic government.
Let me tell you this.
Because the truth is, life wasn't really better in Obasanjo's government than the military.
I didn't mention just political leaders. I said inclusive of religious leaders, tradition. I didn't mention just political leaders. I said inclusive of religious leaders, traditional leaders, economic leaders. Listen.
Academic leaders.
Are you with me? Okay. So it is not about APC, PDP, or Tinubu, or Abiola, or no. It's about the kind of, listen, look at that small guy. What's his name again? Traore.
Okay.
Forget that he's a military man. Forget about he's a military man. Either you are a military or a civilian. Whatever is inside of you is what you say when you are drunk. Do you understand? Look at Thomas Sankara. Look at Muammar Gaddafi, Fidel Castro. Okay, let's leave those people. Let us come back to Nelson Mandela. Let us go to Papa Mahatma Gandhi. Let us go to Washington himself. So what are you talking about? It is not about maybe Buhari, Tinubu, Jonathan, or she.
Yeah, because
it's about the leaders. Then when we were now talking about the leaders, I will still talk about the people, because the people too, they have their own chunk of the blame. The people, they have their own chunk of the blame.
Because it also look like we are very difficult to govern as Nigerians. The problem
is because we don't have a vision. It is a nation without a vision.
Okay, Mr. San, you wanted to say something.
Yes. You know, the way we have to look at that conversation in this country, we need an expository discussions, because we restrict our conversation on premise of immediate crisis most often times.
True.
And that have now make us forget. Nigerians are just quick to forget yesterday.
True.
And the way we are wired, there is no proper from, you are trying to raise some ideas, which I've always pushed, which is the orientation of the people. How much of education do we really understand that what we are even running is a democracy under a presidential system? Do we really understand that we are not running a unitary system? Do we understand that we are not even running an opaque governance when we have bicameral legislative house at the federal, we have unicameral at the state? You know that there are some of all these things that affect the growth of a nation without us even having hand in it.
Do we even know what we want
We
in
don't
our
even
leaders?
know what I'm
saying.
Do we
It's a
even know what we
nation-
want
it's a
in our
nation
leaders?
without
We
a
don't know what is
vision.
best
A
for
nation
us.
without a vision. That's it.
Let him go on. Go on, sir.
Wait. We don't even have a structural program, and that's one of the factors that programs like this have to give. To me, I'm not just carrying the hammer. I've dug my hammer on the government on where they are failing and where they are also making progress. We give it to them. But where the people need to really now come in now is the structure of governance that we have. Who do we all have our people that we elect, even in our immediate CDA's environment? Do we hold ourselves accountable? Everybody seems to be a master in their own life. Nobody is cautioning everybody. Look at the society today. The society is more decayed that it is not even the government now. It's not about the societal decadence that is more manufactured by the people ourselves. Then nobody is there to talk about it. All we do is to look at the blame. Now, how do we correct this anomaly? That's where this conversation must rest on. So, in getting it right, the people need more better orientation on committing themselves to voting.
Now we will come to that. We will come to that. Let's not jump the gun yet. So with all these issues now, how fragile really is our democracy? Let me stay with you, Mr. San. How fragile really is it? Because we know the democracy is not exactly perfect. It has its issues. It has its loopholes. And how well a democratic government or democratic government will stand is how strong the institution is, despite its loopholes and its problem. Especially at a time where we keep seeing, we're beginning to see an unconstitutional takeover and
systemic failure. We are endangered species in this part of the world, and it's not because it's a deliberate thing, both with the connivance of the system that we have. Some people don't want us to be free from the jugular of either the age-long military or the international connivance. But the best we can do is to get it right from the kind of orientation of the people and how we need to begin to elect good leaders. We don't have to begin to see leaders from the opinion of sentiment. From leaders that cannot really tell you that they are truly accountable to their people. To me, I've seen it all that it is not about having a leader that's either an Hausa man, Igbo man, or Yoruba man. Almost everybody have one common denominator, that everybody have this self-seeking selfishness to aggregate, self-aggrandizement of wealth. But we can still get it right as a people by having proper electoral reform that guarantees delivery of people's vote. People's vote must count. We don't even need too many IDs that have equally affected us in this country. The policing system is one thing. Accountability within the military. Who is asking those military who are part of the terrorists that are part of this government that the government is finding difficult to have factors that are deliberately killing our democracy.
Okay,
let's we come together and have that whole resolution. And that's why I've always called on, let every region, let's go back to regional government.
Okay, which is the next question I was just about to ask. We have
let me even talk about fragility of our democracy.
Okay, briefly.
See,
time is.
Our democracy will always be fragile in as much as we are allowing primordialities to control us. Okay? Our democracy will always be fragile in as much as the executive is still controlling the judiciary
and the legislature.
Our democracy will continue to be fragile as long as we don't have an umpire, electoral umpire, that people can have confidence in. Imagine that word, that glitch. For goodness sake, when a glitch happens, what are you supposed to do? But then, did you do it? So what I'm saying is this. It is beyond theorizing that we must... Listen, even if we have regionalism, if there is this issue of regionalism that everybody is talking about, who are going to be controlling those regions? Is it not the same people?
So
is it not the same system?
Let me get this now. We have two school of thought right now.
Yeah.
The one on the other side, I think this country need a total change, a total realignment, a total overhaul. Whatever we decide, go to regional system of government or state police and total restructuring. What kind of democracy do we want? Some people have even suggested parliamentary system of government. Our presidential system of government is not working, and all that. We have that. And then we have the other school of thought that says, hey, we don't need a total change. All we just need is a tweak here and there in our constitution. Which side of the divide do you belong to?
Let me tell you. All these things put together.
I'll come to you, Mr. San.
Even when you put all these things together, and our mind, the people, are not reoriented. The people, they don't have a change of attitude to what we are practicing now. If I is going to be worse off. I will give you an example. With all due respect to my brother, Barrister Azan, please, I'm not trying to, when some people were agitating about Yoruba nation, okay, I said, Yoruba nation, how do you want to achieve this? My brother, not too long. They were not into it for long. University of Ife, there was problem there. They said, okay, in the citadel of education, you don't look at federal character. You look at expertise, capacity, and seniority. They now brought somebody to be the VC from Akure area. Come and see Wahala. For the first time I heard that, they were carrying Egun, Oru, Ebo in the school. Fetish things. They said, no, the VC must come from Ife, Modakeke, Ikpetumodu also. But listen, are they not all Yoruba? Some Obas.
We have sub-fractions here and there.
Do you know some Obas? We haven't say no. The capital should be here. I'm not even part of I'm not son of Odudua. What I'm saying in essence is this. The kind of socio-political fragility that we should have been experiencing in Nigeria today is being reduced by this federal system of government. But it's a pity. It's a pity again. Some people at that federal, they are now trying to use their power to usurp what we call exclusive list, concurrent list, and residual list. Are you with me? So if all those things are being taken good care of, and then we are following even the present constitution as is, without coming up with unnecessary alibi there, I mean, will have gone far.
In other words, we don't need restructuring in
It's not. Yeah. Okay. Let's say, is it restructuring? How will restructuring stop somebody from saying, okay, I'm going to be buying 160 million vehicle for all the legislators?
Okay,
is that restructuring?
Let's not look at it that
No,
way.
these are issues now.
For example,
embezzling money that belongs to everybody. Is that restructuring?
For example,
it's change of mind.
For example, there is a case to be made for state police as in the current federal system.
Even still, I don't believe in state police. Even still, I don't believe in state police.
Okay.
Because the so-called governors, senators, and all that, they be using them for electoral manipulation.
Okay, let's leave it there. Mr. San, what's your side of the divide?
It's just that each time doctor talks, I just want him to provide a solution.
I will provide. I was about providing solution. I have solutions.
We will talk about solutions.
I have solutions. Even the police, state police, I have solutions.
Let's listen to
democracy,
him, please. Okay.
Expanded presidential democracy. We need to really come to the understanding of what works for us as a people. What works for us is the fact that yes, we just did a copy and paste without understanding presidential system of democracy. Actually, what we should do first, you have this geopolitical zone. Within the geopolitical zone, whatever that is your program, budget, must be intertwined with that of the federal. States will have a separate budget for the same road. Federal will have a budget for that same road, for the same education. So until we have a nuclear system, that we have expanded presidential system, you have one president, six deputy president, one national vice president, each manning the geopolitical zone. Then at the local government, let the local government, just the way we have the state, let the local government also be part of the system.
In other words, you're in parts of restructuring. In other words, you're part good because you're mentioning the regional system. You're proposing we go to the regional system of government we had in the First Republic, I believe.
No. We might not have that really working right now.
Okay.
What we can have now is an expanded system, because if you have an expanded system, the party and the region, because once you have expanded system, there will be rotation of power from the region.
Okay.
Because if you don't have rotational presidency, one race will be left out of power for eternity, no matter how that, like the Southeast now, they will always be at the doorstep of power until we have a rotational presidency. Because if not, the North will keep rigmaroling, the Southwest will keep rigmaroling, then between South and Southeast, anybody that comes out of there will represent that area. And it's not going to work until we have our constitutional deconstructed and a new constitution that enables regional presidency with one term of 7 years. Because this 4-year tenure is not working. You don't need a second term. Just come, do whatever you can, then let the other region take over. There will be constructive development of our democracy. And once you have a president from your region and you have deputy president in all the six geopolitical zones, you can decentralize power, your system working in tandem. Then we don't need 40 ministers.
Okay.
We don't need ministers for some offices. All you just need is foreign affairs, economic, social, and cultural orientation, and you can now work with the state ministries that deal directly and the local government that deal directly with the people.
Okay, let's go to Mr. Dr. Dayo. Tell us your solution. What do you think? How do we solve this myriad of problem we have in this country? How do we strengthen our democratic systems?
Let me start from the police.
Okay.
That I stopped the other time. You see, when we're talking of policing system, it's just like you asking me that doesn't know this terrain to come and police this place. If you ask me to police this place between me and somebody like Dele or you, who do you think will police this place better? It's either of you that understands the terrain. Yes, let us have the IGP there. Let us have the area commanders and all that there. But when it comes to, one, those working with area commanders and those working with divisional police, within the divisional police, they have to be people that understands, one, the language, the culture, the terrain.
And you think that can still be achieved at the federal level instead of state police?
No. Listen.
Or community policing?
When you are transferring your police, for instance, I go to some of these divisional police posts, you will see people from Zamfara, people from Sokoto, people from Rivers, manning a divisional police post that is in Shaki, that is in Ekiti. But rather, bring people that we understand their language, their culture, and all that. Let's leave that. When you're talking about this restructuring, what is the restructuring you're ever talking about? Before you can talk about a restructuring, you must first of all have a structure. Where are those structures? No, where are those structures? You said you are practicing American presidential system of government, isn't it? Do I even know? Even Americans, do they even know which region Trump comes from? Talk less of his vice, Vance.
But every,
Did they look? The issue is this.
But every country have the peculiarity.
The issue, where I'm coming now is this. Where I'm coming is this. If we are well oriented about democracy, which is supposed to be for the people, by the people, and to that extent, you should take dividends of democracy to them. All right? To them. Then, anybody in an elected position we know is onions that, listen, I got to ensure that there is real good standard of living for the people. What is the function of any elective leader? For instance, the president, according to our constitution, to ensure the well-being and security of the people. Nigerians are not asking for much. Nigerians doesn't ask for much. Now, listen, let the president come from anywhere. I don't give a hoot, but let my economic, social, and political expectations
now
be met.
What about
and then security?
What about the situation?
And stop embezzling the money.
What about the situation of justice? And because
yes,
some people have complained about the ambiguity of our constitution. Of course, part of the restructuring is to also come up with a new constitution.
Sir.
Now, even our justices sometimes find it difficult to give some judgment because of how
listen,
lopsided our constitution is.
Don't defend them.
Our constitution is open to lots of interpretation. No, but it's true. Our constitution is open to lots of interpretation.
Let me give you an example. Kayode Ariwola, our former CJN Abi.
Okay.
At a particular case, which I quoted in that my article I told you to go and Google. Nigeria election 2023. Electoral judicial validation of electoral violations. Go and Google it. He gave a judgment on a particular case, which I will mention now.
Quickly,
okay,
as we round up quickly.
At a time, but when he was now Chief Justice of Nigeria, he changed it. Has the constitution changed? No. The issue is this: they always want to give the judgment as it is convenient for them.
Okay.
And that is why some of them, when they now retire, look at the person in the National Assembly that said that was saying that he told our wife to give a particular judgment in the case of somebody, Are you not in this country?
Of course, that blew up.
These are issues. Okay, let us off the mic. Let us off the mic. Okay,
let's end it there. It's almost time for us to go.
Let us off the mic.
It's almost time for us to go. Mr. San, just give us your final thought as we go.
Well, it's very important we come together as a people to continue to constructively engage the government where there are hope, because we don't have another country.
Yes.
We just need to learn to live with ourselves. But the basic thing is that these right things that we are all pushing, let's push it collectively. Let's not push it on sentiment. Let's not be destructive when we are trying to correct the bad stage that we have. We can get it right. What I hope for is that the way and manner we are running our democracy, there is a lot of loopholes. From our education system, there are loopholes. Until we have a constructive mind, an open mind, somebody who's ready and aggressive, who knows the pains of the people. I cannot be a president of this country and allow people to go sleep with hunger when we have the billions in some people's pockets, when we have the billions sat in their account, when we can easily trace all the money that have been stolen in this country and where those money have been transferred to through NSIU.
Are using billions to renovate houses.
So to me, we can get it right if we really prioritize the welfare of the people. And that's what we really need. People who will come to the fore and give it rightly without looking back and are ready to step on toes. If you are not ready to step on toes, don't go near the kitchen because you get burned. So a lot of people that we have had at the ends of our affairs, from governors to the leadership at the federal level, to when votes will count, until when 200 million Nigerians will be voting, and our vote can now bring about a leader that is more aggressive, not an ethnic, regional, or pessimistic leader, but a leader that will look all of us to solve Nigeria's problem.
Thank you very much, Mr. San. Let's go to you, Dr. Kayode. Quickly.
You didn't
and I would like you to help me to correct the way you wrote my name on your online.
Yeah,
you didn't spell it correctly.
Yeah, I do apologize. It was a mistake. I actually give them a corrected version. I'm sure they didn't see that one. It was do sincerely apologize for that. So
I thank my brother for talking about the people, and let me quickly now tell him the quote of J.F. Kennedy: "Those who makes peaceful change impossible will make violent change inevitable." And again, I have one quote which I always say: until when the people are ready to emancipate themselves from the excruciating pains that they have been subjected to by their wicked leaders, they will remain emancipated to those oligarchs. Where am I going? It is time for the people to come together to say, listen, enough is enough. 1, our votes must count. 2, we must be ready to choose our leaders ourselves. 3, the electoral umpire, must be seen to be free, fair, and just to everybody. And 4, no more room for judicial validation of sin electoral violations.
Okay, thank you very much. Before you go, just give us how do we search for that article of yours? I've had some people asking me that they want to go do their search.
Okay, let me give you two. Let me give you 2 of them. A Bewildered Nation.
Okay, so they're Googling.
Wait now, you should Google it. Yeah, A Bewildered Nation.
Okay.
Okay.
What about the one on democracy? The one on democracy.
The other one, okay. A bewildered nation. Okay. The connivance of the leaders against his people. Dr. Dayo Kayode. Okay. Then the second one. 20 2023 general elections, all right, the judicial validation of electoral violations.
Okay, we have to stop it there. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Dayo Kayode, a current affairs analyst.
You put Dr. Dayo Kayode in front of it to be able to bring it out.
An academic doctor and an aviation safety expert. Thank you very much. And of course, Olado Tumasan, the legal practitioner and president, Yoruba Council Worldwide. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for coming to the show. Matters, Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. So I hope I still have time. Sorry, as I said before, I may not be able to pick your calls. Let me read some of the messages I have here. Now, the good thing is we will continue this conversation tomorrow, where this time the floodgate will be on your hands. Floodgate will be open to you, rather, where all the things you wanted to say today, you couldn't say, to open the phone line, of course, WhatsApp message for you to have your contribution, for you to have your say. So I will continue these topics tomorrow. With the number of messages I'm seeing here, lots of people are itching to talk. They really wanted to contribute. So I do sincerely apologize for that. Please forgive me. We just needed experts and analysts to help us dissect this topic. So tomorrow we will open the phone lines and you will call, and of course I'll read your messages. Let me quickly read the few I can today. Let's see. Okay, good. June 12th should be a day to express your feelings about democracy. If it is good and bad, it is now in Nigeria than it is in order to have protest against bad government. I don't understand the English here, but hey, let me try to read it however I can. Against bad government, protest against bad government that threatens the hard-earned democracy. Nigeria's democracy is under threat with plutocracy and autocracy. June 12 has to be how the people can liberate themselves from thugs and tropical gangster masquerading as politicians. Olusoga Ajayi from Odonla, Ikorodu, thank you very much. Please let your analyst give me the link to the articles. Okay, I already did that. This is from Okole Eberechuku at you say you can send it to okoloeberechuku at gmail.com. Okay. Okoloeberechuku at gmail.com. I'll give it to you. Okay. Hello VOP, please tell the guest on telephone to speak specifically on the so-called gains he believes Nigerians have during this administration. Well, I believe he said that when he was analyzing. Good day, Mr. Solomon. Tell Mr. Sam. Okay. Tell Mr. Sam that he should come to Oshodi and see the good works that the chairman of the local government have done. Kendu did. This coming from Madam Ngozi from Oshodi. Okay, yeah, I mean, to be frank, they've been changes, tremendous changes in Oshodi.
I always read that on social media.
Yeah, they've been. I mean, Oshodi used to be like a very rowdy market.
No, I said I always read on social media.
Okay. Good day, VOP. I greet you in the studio and the guests. In fact, nothing to celebrate today because this government has made us suffer more poverty and hardship, no job and insecurity. Rating APC 2 years in office is 10%, which is failure, woefully. Kenny Young from Okwoba, thank you very much. Larry P from Lagos. There's nothing to celebrate in Nigeria. Shame to all the democratic leaders to date. How many years did it take for UAE to transform to what it is today? Yeah, I totally agree. Corruption has become a culture in Nigeria. They will reap what they sow by God's grace. The leaders should lead by example. It is what they do that the young generation follows. Again, Larry PJ from Lagos. Thank you, Larry. Democracy or not, the onset of Nigerians' problem started with the chief culprit, Yakubu Muhammad. Okay, please, my fellow good Nigerians, let us clamor and campaign for electoral reforms. Master Uchechukwu Emmanuel, acolyte from Ejigbo. A good day, Big Solo. Someday we will have real democracy in our country. Sheikh Court from Itire. Amen. 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 So as I said before, now tomorrow we'll have all the time for us to for you to call in and have your say, and of course your messages. I will read them. Lots of messages coming in. Unfortunately, I can't do that. Tomorrow, I will do that. So, once again, thank you very much. They've always accusing me of closing very late on this show. So, today, I want to close as early as possible, 5 minutes ago. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your contribution. Tomorrow is another day. Let me thank our guest, Dr. Dayo Kayode, a current affairs analyst, academic doctor, and aviation expert, and of course, barrister Oladotun Hassan, a legal practitioner and president, Yoruba Council.